There's this saying amongst Christians to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And I'm not sure that people outside the church even know what that means. And there's not a particular scripture that I could even point to and say, well, this is where it says to be the hands and feet of Jesus. But there certainly is a lot of scripture that support this idea of the incarnation, of incarnational living. What does that mean? That just means to show up, to show up in flesh and be a representation of God. When we talk about the birth of Jesus, we talk about the incarnation, and really what that is a doctrine of God taking on a new house, taking on the form of a human being and showing up to a lost and broken world. And by extension, his charge to us through the Great Commission and through the Great Command is to love our neighbor, is to care for them, is to show up incarnationally, is to show up in flesh and help those who are in need. I love how the Apostle Paul describes this type of incarnation when he says, cling to what is good, be devoted to one another in love, honor one another above yourselves, never being lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Show up, Paul is saying. I don't want to be an alarmist, but I do think over the next week or two, things are going to get a little bit more difficult, specifically when it comes to food. Food's going to be a little harder to come by, especially for folks who are older or immunocompromised. Those people in particular are going to need someone to show up in the flesh and to bring hope, to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And so my question to you, if you're listening to this today, is, are you willing to be that person? Are you willing to show up? Are you willing to be the representation of Jesus Christ in the flesh here on earth? Now, I've been so encouraged to hear about all of the things that are taking place, how so many of you are taking care of one another in your communities, how you're staying in touch with people in the church, outside the church, you're bringing essentials, you're shopping for the elderly, you're making meals and partnering with Family Promise, or donating to the food pantry. Newbridge actually has become an official drop-off location for the Interfaith Food Pantry, and so complete strangers are dropping off food to be distributed to people who are in need, and I'm so encouraged by that. In fact, when I told John Torgrimson, our worship leader, he said, "Hey, well, we can make a drop-off location in in Martinsville as well." And so he has a business called the Bridgewater School of Music at 1946 Washington Valley Road in Martinsville. And he said, look, just have people drop it off on the porch and let me know. And he'll bring it to Morristown when we have our services. So there are ways where we can show up. There are ways where we can be the very presence of Jesus to a broken world, and we can all safely agree right now that we are hurting, and there are people who need very real, tangible things like food. And so I'm just asking you to show up. Be the church, be the hands and feet. Be the presence of Jesus. Look for opportunities to help. That's it. Be the church. Rise up. God bless you.